PvP in Oldschool Runescape is broken. There are multiple issues surrounding PvP, some game-breaking, which Jagex knows about and has not addressed for multiple years. I'm going to try and show you some of the main issues with PvP. I'm going to start with the one that I think is currently the worst. So currently, you could go to PvP Worlds right now and find PKers that are wearing gear like this. Full high bonus mage gear, maybe with a range switch, and a D spear or a Zamorakian spear. So why do they have this gear? Well, as it currently stands, you can effectively stop other players from moving entirely in PvP Worlds as long as you have a spear special attack. And just to state it and get it out of the way right now, it does not work as well with the D spear. With the Zamorakian spear, it is perfect. As long as you don't splash, it is a flawless way to keep another player locked from even moving. So mechanically, here's how it's done. You TB your opponent and you use the Entangle spell on your opponent. The entire game's combat system runs on something called the game tick system. A game tick is 0.6 seconds, so when you cast the Entangle spell, you are holding your opponent in place for 24 game ticks, or 14.4 seconds. Normally what's supposed to happen after those 24 game ticks of the Entangle, there is a 5 tick or 3 second cooldown on which you cannot actually entangle your opponent. This was obviously implemented as a balancing issue to not just lock a player into place permanently. Mechanically, that's unbalanced and that's obviously unfair. Keeping that in mind, now add the Zamorakian spear into the mix. So entangles last 24 game ticks or 14.4 seconds, and a mage attack as well as a range attack on rapid are both 5 ticks. So normally I would get 5 attacks in and then re-entangle and he would get closer to where he wants to go. But instead, now I use the Zamorakian spear as my 5th hit and then re-entangle. If I do all of this flawlessly, which I promise it is one of the most brain-dead things I've ever done in this entire game, then he is not going anywhere. Like, take for instance what you're watching right now. This guy was a PKer with a full inventory of food. All I have to do to keep this guy in place is attack him 4 times, Zamorak spear him, entangle, and then repeat that same process. So again, just to prove the point, I did this on a PKer who has a full inventory of food. Good fight, Rat. Yep, look at that. A PK from full food, full HP. And he's gonna die here. Look at that. He's dead. ZGS, oh my god. Wow. That is bullcrap. Look at that. Look how much I just PK'd from that. That was a PK with full food. And I just PK'd 15.2 mil. That's how bullcrap that is. He couldn't do anything about it. I found the guy and gave back his items because mechanically, there is nothing he could have done there. He had zero counterplay to that. Even if he were to have some sort of freezes so he could freeze me and try to stand underneath me and log or something of that sort, it would not work. As the person spearing, you completely control the fight. All you have to do to counter their counter is stand next to them and then spear and freeze them when the time comes. Now imagine how unfair it is if I do it on a PKer who just got a loot and doesn't have that much food on them. Well, you don't actually have to imagine because I did it right here. This guy is maybe 5 steps away from a safe zone. All he has to do is walk 5 steps and he's free. And he can't even do that. There we go, kill this guy because of it. That took no effort, 1.6 mil. So here's the biggest problem about this issue. I told this to Jagex 2 months ago, multiple times, and it still has not been fixed. So here's me asking again, Jagex, please fix this issue. Honestly, to me, it just looks like they don't care. There's no sort of urgency to fix this issue, even though I tried to state how bad of an issue it actually is. Nothing's done about it. I don't think that Jagex sees PvP as a financial opportunity for them, so they really don't put as much dev time into PvP that they should put into PvP. Pretty much every PvP update that has come to the game over the past few years has been overpromised and underdelivered. Honestly, I could talk about Deadman mode for a long time with how many mess-ups the game mode has had, but I'm not going to go into it. I am more so going to go into the main game PvP updates. I think the best example of Jagex overpromising and underdelivering can come down to one minigame, and that is Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter was a PvP minigame that was released on the old school servers back in 2014. Bounty Hunter was a pretty popular minigame. People really enjoyed it. It was a great way to casually have fun PKing and make a little bit of GP in the process. But years went by without any significant update to PvP, so Jagex finally decided that they wanted to update Bounty Hunter as a way to appease people for PvP update. And just so we're crystal clear, anything stated by JMods at RuneFest or otherwise about a game update or a game fix or anything is not on the JMod. It is always representative of Jagex. So any individual criticism I ever have is always on Jagex. It is never on a JMod.
But what we're going to get into right now is Bounty Hunter in specific. We're going to get into the actual game and one of the updates in the game. Player bounties will be essentially Slayer tasks for players. And there are incentives to stay. You know, if you see yourself at rank 3.8 and you really want to get to rank 4, you might stay on for the extra hour or two. You're going to run out there into Edgeville and you're going to see people using all different types of gears and weapons because they all want to complete their tasks.
I want to tell you today about the Bounty Hunter rework that we announced last RuneFest. Hell yeah! To just give you a brief overview of what it consists of, we have a very basic design where we're looking at player bounties with a unique reward system. Now, PvPers, the time to rejoice is right now because I can confirm the Bounty Hunter rework will happen this year.
Can you guess what I'm going to present? Right. Firstly, I will slow it down a bit and begin with a thank you, because like I said, you can guess what I'm going to present, really.
I'm going to give you guys a hint as to what he presented by showing you the video that they presented right before he spoke. It showcased a bunch of different PvP fights between teams in the Wilderness and Purple Portal. That's right, they presented the clan system. The update sucks. So after that update, Jagex finally asked the content creators what they could do to improve it. So Pure Spam and I spent 5 hours writing up issues and solutions to those issues that Bounty Hunter was facing. It was ignored. Until Torvesta made a video about one of the biggest problems Bounty Hunter was facing, which was boosting.
What you are witnessing here is hundreds of people making millions of gold per hour exploiting the new point system inside Bounty Hunter 2.
Then do you want to know how they addressed the problems of Bounty Hunter? They removed it. Then they added it back 3 months later, and then they permanently removed it. Overpromised and underdelivered. One of the major reasons why Bounty Hunter ended up getting removed was due to the fact that people were boosting the minigame and cheating it. Essentially, it boiled down to the fact that Jagex was not able to properly moderate anybody who was going to break the rules, so they did not make it a rule in the first place. But it was obvious that it was cheating the system. Jagex kept trying to tweak the system of Bounty Hunter to make it so it would punish anybody who was boosting, but it ended up just punishing legitimate players. Ultimately though, it boils down to the fact that Jagex was not willing to moderate the issue. This same issue of Jagex unwilling to moderate comes up with the issue of ragging. Ragging is essentially griefing another player by attacking them repeatedly so they're not able to get fights with anybody else. Their intention is never to actually PK you, although I'm sure that would be a bonus for them, but it's to stop your forward motion of actually participating in the activity of PvP. It basically boils down to the fact that it's harassment, which is against the game rules. And of course, this often does come paired with verbal harassment as well. Jagex is well aware of the issue of ragging, since they actually classify ragging under the report abuse menu as rule number 14. Disruptive behavior. That being said, no one is ever banned for it. Oftentimes you'll find most raggers to be one-iteming, although not every ragger does one item. Let me give you a for instance as to how bad this actually is. Anytime you log into a PvP world, you can guaranteed find a ragger. Let's see how many raggers I can find right now. When I went to teleport into Varrock Square, immediately I found 2 one-item raggers just sitting there doing nothing. One was sitting north of the GE, and outside of house portals we find 1, 2, 3, 4. That's probably a looter. 5 raggers, all in one spot. And if you're getting ragged, they know who you are. Doesn't matter what account you're on. In fact, when I asked 2 different PKers who usually PvP World PK if they've been ragged, they were both able to send me videos of them getting ragged that they actually both sent off to Jagex tip-offs, and nothing was done about it. Well, you might be thinking to yourself though, there must not be enough evidence or proof, right? Well, one of the videos that was sent to me was 31 minutes of rag evidence. The other video? 39 minutes of rag evidence. Still not banned because Jagex is either unable or unwilling to actually moderate PvP. And don't even get me started on the cheat clients as well as the automated auto hotkey scripts that will PK for you. That is of course bannable, but people never get banned for. I was actually going to make a point too about PvP run events by Jagex like Deadman mode, but I think Colonella puts it best in his new video.
They haven't always had the best track record when it comes to hosting tournaments. Some were amazing and others not so much. Multiple were rigged, glitches caused confusion on who actually won, and the first one is so bad the team gave up and went down to the pub for a drink. If you think I'm joking, I wish I was.
Deadman won, the office got DDoS, didn't it? So he gave up and went to the pub and got drunk instead.
His video discusses the newest LMS event that Jagex recently held, and I really think it's worth the watch, so make sure you go watch it after this video. It would also be remiss of me to not mention that there is definitely an argument to be made about the rebalancing of some gear items in the game, but I don't really think that this video is the correct video to make that argument in. When it comes to actually providing PvP updates, you don't always have to think big. You can always start off small. Like for example, you can improve the global wilderness drop table. You can add things like the rune pouch to it as a rare drop. You can create a rare wilderness drop table that you can only access if you do Wilderness Slayer. You can add implings to the wilderness and be generous with the spawn rates and the tiers like Dragon and Lucky Implings. There's also issues like PvP items not having a good item sync, so you can also create something in the wilderness where you augment those items. Maybe let's say you have two AGSs and you want to combine them into one more powerful AGS that doesn't increase the max hit, but it increases the accuracy by maybe 5-10%, thus getting rid of an AGS out of the game and raising the price of that AGS. Add new activities to the wilderness. Maybe create a new wilderness only clue scroll that will give you slightly better rewards. The point is, there is a lot you can do to help out PvP in the long term, and it will not take that long to create and implement these updates. PvP in RuneScape is one of the most unique things that this game has to offer, the wilderness also being a very unique piece of content that is pretty much exclusive to this game only. You have these amazing pieces of unique content. Cherish them. Build them up. Ultimately, I'm going to end the video like this. I love RuneScape. I have a deep passion and caring for this game. I also love Jagex, and despite there being key issues with this game, PvP and otherwise, I do think that they are a good company. They have treated me very well, and this video is not to throw that back in their face. This video is for me to simply ask Jagex, please, fix PvP. Give PvP the updates it deserves, and I can promise you, it will go a very long way.